If procrastination had a name and a face, it would definitely have been me this weekend. Though we had a 3-day weekend, I still waited until the last day to get laundry done. For some reason, this weekend I just had no energy whatsoever. So here I am, the day before work is to start, just now doing laundry. And unfortunately, this was not one of those weekends where I only had a little bit of laundry because I had been doing it during the week. Unfortunately, I had a long work week this week, so I had a ton of laundry. So I figured, let me go down to the basement and start laundry before I even attempt to start dinner. And at this point, I didn't know what dinner was going to be. All I knew is that I had some thin chicken breasts taken out. I knew I still needed to head to the car wash to get my car wash because yesterday while going to a friend's house for a cookout, Bird took liberties with my car, and I just knew I did not want it to, I didn't want the Bird gift to sit on my car and mess up the paint. So here I go, going to the car wash to get my car done. And when I tell y'all, it took every bit of my energy to get in the car to drive to the car wash where I did not have to manually wash the car. I don't know if my vitamin D is low. I don't feel bad or don't feel sick or anything. I just literally had no energy this weekend. I could have totally stayed in the house and slept all weekend. Do you guys ever have weekends like that? And I mean, it just made no sense to me. Like I say, I waited till the night before, essentially, to do everything. By the time I arrived at this car wash, it was already close to 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's not even like I got an early start the day before having to return to work. But yeah, so I left here and I had to go to the grocery store to pick up an order. I didn't record that, but I stopped at Wawa to get a cup of coffee, hoping that would pep me up. So when I got back home, as you see, I had a few dishes in the sink, and I am one of those people, no matter what I'm cooking, I cannot and will not start cooking until the kitchen is clean, even if it's only a few dishes. I guess that's my grandmother in me, but she always taught us to make sure you keep your kitchen clean and your bathrooms cleaned. And whatever you do, don't start cooking without making sure that everything is clean. Actually, she taught us that dishes should not be left in the sink at all. God rest her soul. I'm sure she is rolling over in her grave to see those dishes in the sink. Because in her house, as soon as we finished eating, those dishes were clean. So this right here really was just no excuse. But anyway, I got my coffee. It gave me a little bit of energy, enough to get through the day, to get some of the main stuff done. Yeah. So, what did you guys do this weekend? Did you do anything fun to capitalize on the long weekend, or did you guys just hang out around the house? The only thing we really did was went to a good friend's house on yesterday to celebrate with them. So what you see here is after I finish washing the dishes, I always, at least 2 to 3 times a week, try and clean the sink and drains because I want to make sure that we don't have any little critters or anything coming up. That would not be good. So I always put a little bit of baking soda and vinegar down the drain. Then I will chase it with hot water, and I do that on both sides because, as you guys know or may not know, a dishwasher not a dishwasher. Jesus, a garbage disposal can get quite rancid if it's not clean on the regular. So that for sure is one that I clean almost always. What you won't see on the camera is I have a kettle and I put some hot water in it and poured it down there. And right here, what I am doing is I had just a little bit more Dawn in that container, and I was not going to let it go to waste. And I always clean my brushes. You got to clean them brushes too. You know, I noticed that some people do not clean their sponges and brushes, and they can get quite, disgusting as well. I always know after, at the end of each day, or depending on what I'm washing, I always make sure my brushes are clean. And I was putting some ammonia on them, and then I'll let them sit there for a little bit. And again, I put some water in my kettle and let it get hot, and I will pour that hot water on them, let those brushes get clean, and then just wipe down my cabinet. Needed to get it clean. You don't want to be cooking in no dirty kitchen. I'm very critical of a kitchen and bathroom. My room, I don't want it too dirty either, but I'll give a little bit more grace in my room than I will my kitchen or bathroom. And so, once again, here it is. I'm just wiping down the cabinet right now with a little bit of Dawn so I can go ahead and get started cooking. By this time, I had decided that I had enough stuff at home to make some teriyaki chicken and broccoli. Originally, it was going to be chicken and broccoli, but I realized I didn't have any oyster sauce. And there was a couple more things I didn't have, but hey, I was going to make it do what it do at this point. And so there I was getting my water ready to soak my chicken. So I added some vinegar and salt. And so I had rinsed the chicken off. And so right here, I'm letting it soak in the vinegar and salt because I was going to go ahead and cut up the veggies and make the sauce. Again, rinse your sinks out. And I do a lot of back and forth with cleaning as I cook. And this is one reason why I was making chicken teriyaki and broccoli, is because I knew I had fresh broccoli in the refrigerator. And with the price of groceries, I'm not about to let anything go bad. So I needed to use that anyway. So, yep. Yeah, no need of me telling you what I'm doing, keeping my area clean. And I was too lazy to even boil it. So what I did is I got a sheet pan and put some parchment paper on it. And I decided that I was going to just let it cook for a little bit in the oven. And I did not want the veggies to get really soft, but just a little bit tender in the oven, because I knew they were going to cook some more on top of the stove once I mixed them with the chicken. And I am drizzling just a little bit of avocado oil over them so the seasoning would stick. I put a little bit of garlic salt on them, not too much, and you'll see me with garlic powder. And I also put some white pepper on them, and I believe I put a little bit of onion powder. I know you didn't see it here, so yep, slapping them little bad boys in the oven. And next thing, let's get started with this sauce. I had a little bit of teriyaki sauce left in this jar. Again, no waste over here. And I had another jar of teriyaki sauce, so I just added, opened that jar and added what I had to it. And let me tell y'all something. I totally made up a lot of this recipe. I added some rice wine vinegar, a little bit of soy sauce. I didn't have any fresh garlic. Don't care. I used garlic. If you have fresh garlic and you want to use it, more power to you. And I added just a little bit of brown sugar. Yes, over here, we're not running to the store every time you look up. We use what we have, and anytime I'm dealing with raw meat. I'm going to put some gloves on or use tongs. I usually use gloves for anything I cook in the kitchen though. And so what I did is I cut the chicken real thin. That's another reason why I put the veggies in the stove, because I knew I was going to cut the chicken really thin. And if I kept them on the stove together, then the chicken was gonna overcook because it's sliced so thin. So once I sliced it, I added garlic powder, onion powder, and Kinder's buttery garlic seasoning to it. Not a lot of seasoning, again, because I know I'm going to use that sauce, which has soy sauce in it, and just a dab of garlic salt. And right here I'm adding some Argo cornstarch just so the sauce would thicken up a little bit. And here's me drizzling it with a little bit of avocado oil. Mix. And let's go ahead and get over here to that stove next. Get the skillet hot. And y'all, let me tell you something about this recipe. It may seem like it took a lot of time, but it was actually pretty quick and pretty flavorful. So, and you see, I don't use a lot of oil. That is one thing about me. Sometimes with Chinese food, I can find it to be a little bit oily. So that's why I just barely coat the skillet and then move it around. Again, no need for me to tell you here. I am a clean as you go person, especially when it comes to dealing with raw meat. That is why in between each step, as I'm waiting for the stove to warm up or I'm waiting for something to sear or something, I'm going to get up in there and start cleaning up some. And the reason why I was putting the dishes back over there is because I love my dishwasher. It has a sanitizing feature on it that gets really hot. And so I know it looks like I've washed dishes then put them in the dishwasher. But, I mean, that's just something I do. And, yeah, so my skillet was hot. And so let's go ahead and start searing the chicken strips. And, I mean, they were thin. And what I like to do is I like to sear them in batches. I probably could have done them all, but I wanted to make sure that there was enough room for them to spread out in the skillet. So I seared them in a couple batches. They were almost completely done before I put them in another dish. You'll see here in a minute. But I did not want them to be totally done at that point, only because I knew that I was going to incorporate everything back into that skillet. Those veggies, they almost cooked a little bit longer than what I wanted them to, but I caught them just in a nick of time. And so, like I was saying, I knew I was going to combine everything in the sauce. So that's how come I was being very mindful of the chicken and not letting it get completely done, especially since I use chicken breast. And as we all know, chicken breast can be a little bit drier part of the meat. So yeah, I had me a pan ready, and put all that chicken in. Then I just put the rest of the chicken in, because by that time the skillet was really good and hot, and I knew it wasn't going to take long. And we're back here doing it Jules style. Just in case anybody didn't know, my grandmother's name was Jewel. That's hence the name of my channel, A Reflection of Jewel, because I truly believe I am a reflection of my grandmother, especially when it comes to certain things. And house cleaning is one. Keeping my kitchen and bathrooms and stuff cleaning as I go. I mean, I used to be like, oh my God, this woman is like crazy when I was growing up. But I so appreciate everything she taught me. So, yeah. seared all the chicken and now pouring the sauce into the skillet. And what I am going to do is let that sauce cook for a little bit. Here we go, back at the sink. Y'all clean up behind yourself. And then just clean up behind yourself as you cook makes things so much easier too. By the time you finish eating dinner and you get full, you don't have this sink running over with dishes and crumbs and stuff all over the cabinet and the floor. I added just a little bit of crushed red pepper right there to give it just a little bit of kick. I didn't want it overpowering. And I poured the chicken back in first, only because I knew it was not completely done. And so I wanted that chicken to actually touch the skillet and finish cooking in that sauce. And you'll see when I get back to the stove. I know you guys think I'm crazy. Like, girl, you've already washed the dishes and you still gonna put them in the dishwasher? Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I want to make sure that I'm not responsible for anybody getting food poisoning or anything. And so after that chicken I knew it was pretty much done at that point. I didn't leave those veggies on that tray that you see either. I just wanted to stir them around a little bit, and I came back and added the rest of those veggies. I didn't get a picture to add in here of the finished meal. Once I finished, like I said, I didn't finish my chores or even start until late. So I had to head back down to that basement to get the rest of the laundry complete. Yeah, here you see me doing the white clothes. And by the time I started this, it was probably 9 o'clock. With those white clothes, I'm going to always add sanitizer and a little bit of, I believe that's not Tide. Jesus, I am still out of it. Tide Refresh. I was too lazy to even put the detergent in a cup to pour in there. I was like, yeah, we're going to wing it. We're just going to add it to the thing. And the thing with those cups, too, you have to sit there and rinse them out and make sure you don't put the top back on them because it makes a mess on top of the dryer where I keep it. After some of the water had ran, I added some bleach. And let's head back upstairs. By then, I needed me a snack. So my dessert was popcorn, and that is it. I was done. Just too tired to watch. Thank you so much for watching. If this was your first time here, welcome. If not, thank you for coming back.